Royal histories are more than just chronicles of rulers and reigns. In the heart of Nigeria, nestled amongst rolling hills and vibrant cultures, lies Adejumola. This land, rich in tradition and heritage, has a story to tell. A story whispered through generations, echoing the legacy of its kings. These whispers speak of power and wisdom, of struggles and triumphs. To understand Adejumola today, we must first journey back in time to uncover the roots of its royal lineage. Our journey takes us deep into the annals of Adejumola history, where names like Hasstrup resonate with power and reverence. Join us as we delve into the extraordinary tale of Oba Alexander Adejumola Hasstrup, a journey that will illuminate the enduring legacy of Ajesala's royal past. Ajesaland, often referred to as Ilisa, is steeped in a history as captivating as its landscapes. The Ajesa people, known for their industrious spirit and vibrant culture, trace their lineage back centuries, their history intertwined with a succession of powerful rulers. The Owa Obokun of Ajesaland, the paramount ruler, holds a position that transcends the political. He is the custodian of tradition, the voice of the ancestors, and a symbol of unity for the Ajesa people. The Hasstrup family, woven into this intricate tapestry of royalty, emerges as a particularly significant thread, their story deeply intertwined with the fate and fortune of Ajesaland. The Hasstrup dynasty, a name synonymous with Ajesaland's royal heritage, represents a unique chapter in the land's history. Frederick Kumokun Adedeji Hasstrup, a patriarch of the Hasstrup family, stands as a pivotal figure in this saga. Born in the early 19th century, his life and actions directly shaped the course of the dynasty and, by extension, influenced the landscape of Ajesaland. Understanding Frederick's life requires us to delve into the socio-political climate of his time, a period where the foundations of modern Nigeria were being laid. His story is a microcosm of the larger forces at play, a testament to the power of individual actions in shaping history. The 19th century in Nigeria was a period of seismic shifts, with traditional power structures grappling with the growing influence of European colonialism. In Ajesaland, these global forces were not mere distant rumbles, but tangible tremors felt in the heart of the kingdom. The Ajesa people, known for their warrior spirit and independent nature, found themselves navigating a new reality. Amidst this tumultuous backdrop, Frederick Kumokun Adedeji Hasstrup was born into the ancient Oro lineage, specifically the Gudu royal house in Ilisa. His birthright placed him within the echelons of power, but the world he inherited was far more complex than that of his forefathers. The Ajesa kingdom, while renowned for its internal unity, was not immune to the power struggles that reverberated across the region. For Ajesaland, maintaining its autonomy and protecting its interests required a delicate balancing act, navigating the ambitions of both internal factions and external forces. The institution of the Owa Obokun, while deeply respected, was not above the fray. The selection and succession of rulers often involved intricate negotiations between royal families, each vying for influence and the right to shape the destiny of Ajesaland. It was during this era of uncertainty and transformation that Frederick Kumokun Adedeji Hasstrup came of age. The Gudu royal house, to which Frederick belonged, held a prominent place within the Ajesa kingdom. Their lineage could be traced back to the very founders of Ilisa, their ancestors revered for their wisdom, courage, and unwavering commitment to the well-being of the Ajesa people. The Gudu house was not merely a repository of tradition, but also a hotbed of political influence. Their members often held key positions within the kingdom, serving as advisors, military commanders, and representatives of the Owa Obokun. This active role in Ajesa affairs meant that Frederick, from a young age, was exposed to the intricacies of power, diplomacy, and the art of governance. The 19th century was a trial by fire for the Ijesa people and their rulers. The rise of Ibadan, a powerful and expansionist neighbor, presented a constant military threat, forcing Ijesaland to bolster its defenses and forge strategic alliances. Internal divisions within the kingdom, fueled by ambition and the shifting tides of power, further complicated the situation. It was in this crucible of conflict and uncertainty that the Gudu royal house, and Frederick Kumokun Adedeji Hasstrup in particular, honed their skills and proved their mettle. Their lineage, forged in the fires of adversity, emerged stronger, their commitment to Ijesaland unwavering. Frederick Kumokun Adedeji Hasstrup, born into a time of great change, embodied the evolving identity of Ijesaland. He was a bridge between worlds, navigating the complexities of traditional Yoruba customs and the encroaching influence of European culture. Unlike many of his contemporaries, Frederick's life took an unexpected turn, leading him away from the familiar landscapes of Ijesaland to the distant shores of Europe. Some accounts suggest he traveled as part of a royal delegation seeking to establish trade relations with European powers. Others hint at a more turbulent past, possibly involving the slave trade, a dark chapter in history that touched the lives of countless Africans. Regardless of the reasons, Frederick's time in Europe left an indelible mark on him. The 19th century witnessed the decline of the transatlantic slave trade and the rise of new forms of commerce between Europe and Africa. Ijesaland, strategically positioned inland, found itself at the crossroads of these burgeoning trade routes. Frederick, upon his return from Europe, recognized the economic potential these new trade networks offered. He understood that by establishing direct links with European merchants, Ijesaland could bypass coastal intermediaries and reap greater profits from its resources. These efforts brought newfound wealth to Ijesaland, bolstering its economy and elevating its status as a regional trading power. Frederick's experiences in Europe did not erase his Ijesa identity. Instead, they enriched and diversified it. He returned to Ijesaland not as a stranger, but as a man who straddled two worlds, embracing both his Yoruba heritage and the knowledge he gained abroad. This duality is reflected in his name, a testament to his dual identity. He retained his Yoruba name, Kumokun Adedeji, honoring his lineage and cultural roots. The name Frederick, bestowed upon him during his time in Europe, became a symbol of his global exposure and his willingness to embrace new ideas. Frederick Kumokun Adedeji. Hasstrup's legacy is one of progress and adaptation. He embodied the spirit of Ijesaland, a land steeped in tradition, yet open to innovation. His ability to bridge the gap between Yoruba customs and European influences paved the way for Ijesaland's transformation into a modern and prosperous region. His efforts to promote education, for instance, were driven by a desire to equip future generations with the knowledge and skills needed to thrive in a changing world. His family, the Hasstrups, became synonymous with progress and innovation within Ijesaland. While Frederick Kumokun Adedeji Hasstrup may not have ascended to the throne himself, his influence on the trajectory of the Gudu royal house and, by extension, Ijesaland, was profound. His life and actions planted the seeds for a transformation that would continue to unfold in the decades to come. His embrace of both Yoruba traditions and European influences created a template for future generations, demonstrating that progress and heritage could coexist, even complement each other. Among Frederick's descendants, a young boy named Alexander would rise to prominence, eventually inheriting not just the Hasstrup name, but also the mantle of leadership within the Gudu house. Alexander Adejumola Hasstrup was born into a family already etched into the annals of Ijesaland's history. The Hasstrup name, synonymous with progress and a unique blend of Yoruba and European traditions, carried a weight of expectation that rested upon young Alexander's shoulders. He was a prince, not in the traditional sense of inheriting the throne directly, but a prince of progress, destined to shape the future of his people. His early life was steeped in the richness of Ijesa culture, surrounded by the vibrant traditions and customs of his ancestors. The legacy of his grandfather, Frederick, ensured that Alexander was exposed to a broader perspective, a world where European influences intertwined with Yoruba customs. The shaping of a future king. Alexander's early education was a blend of traditional teachings and modern influences. He learned the art of diplomacy and leadership from observing elders, absorbing their wisdom during community gatherings and council meetings. Yet, he was also a beneficiary of his grandfather's progressive vision for education. This duality in his education, a balance between tradition and modernity, instilled in him a unique perspective. As Alexander matured, his thirst for knowledge led him beyond Ijesaland. He embarked on a journey to further his education. Alexander understood that knowledge was a tool to elevate his people. He traveled to Lagos, a center of commerce and education. Enrolling in a prestigious school, he excelled in his studies. His time in Lagos was an immersion into a world of change. He witnessed colonial rule and burgeoning Nigerian nationalism. Upon completing his education, Alexander returned to Elisha, armed with knowledge and experience that set him apart. He could have easily pursued a life of comfort and privilege, leveraging his family name and connections for personal gain. However, Alexander was driven by a deeper calling, a sense of duty instilled in him from childhood, the call to serve his people. His return was met with a mixture of anticipation and curiosity. The elders saw in him a glimmer of his grandfather's vision, a leader who could bridge the gap between the past and the future. The younger generation saw a kindred spirit, someone who understood their aspirations for progress and modernity while respecting the traditions that bound them together as a people. His time away had not diluted his connection to his roots. Rather, it had deepened his understanding of the challenges and opportunities facing Ijesaland. He knew that the world was changing, and for his people to thrive, they needed a leader who could navigate the complexities of a globalized society without sacrificing their cultural identity. The path to becoming the Adejumola Owl Obokun is fraught with complexities, a delicate dance of tradition, lineage, and political maneuvering. It is not a position inherited automatically, but one earned through a combination of lineage, respect within the royal court, and ultimately, the will of the kingmakers. When the throne became vacant, all eyes turned to Alexander. His lineage, his education, his experience beyond Ijesaland, and his undeniable charisma made him a formidable candidate. The elders, recognizing his potential to guide Ijesaland into a new era, bestowed upon him the title of Adejumola, a highly respected position within the royal court, signifying his preparedness for greater responsibility. The title of Adejumola was not just an honor, it was a proving ground. Alexander excelled in this role, demonstrating his wisdom, his fairness, and his unwavering commitment to the well-being of his people. He mediated disputes, implemented progressive policies, and earned the trust and admiration of the Ijesa people. When the time came for the kingmakers to choose the next Owa Obokun, their decision was unanimous. Alexander Adejumola Hasstrup, the Prince of Progress, was ready to ascend the throne and lead his people into a new era. Oba Alexander Adejumola. Hasstrup's ascension marked a new chapter in Ijesaland's history. His reign blended tradition with progress, touching every aspect of Ijesa life. He embraced modernity while preserving cultural heritage. His reign faced challenges, especially colonialism. Nigeria, under British rule, struggled with diverse ethnicities. Oba Alexander navigated these dynamics with wisdom and diplomacy. He promoted harmony and a shared identity. Oba Alexander, much like his grandfather Frederick, believed that education was the cornerstone of progress. He understood that for Adejumola to compete in a globalized world, its people needed access to knowledge, skills, and opportunities that extended beyond the traditional boundaries of their society. He envisioned an Adejumola, where literacy was not a privilege but a right, where the minds of his people were empowered to shape their own destiny. He invested heavily in expanding educational opportunities within Adejumola. New schools were built, equipped with modern facilities and staffed with qualified teachers. Scholarships were established, enabling bright young minds from even the most remote villages to pursue higher education. Oba Alexander understood that investing in education was not merely an expenditure, it was an investment in the very future of Adejumola. His commitment to education extended beyond the formal classroom setting. He established libraries and cultural centers, spaces where knowledge was freely accessible to all. He invited scholars, artists, and intellectuals from across Nigeria and beyond to share their expertise, fostering a vibrant intellectual atmosphere within Adejumola. Section 3. Infrastructure and Modernization. Oba Alexander recognized that for Adejumola to prosper, it needed to modernize its infrastructure. He embarked on ambitious projects to improve transportation, communication, and access to basic amenities. Roads were paved, connecting remote villages to bustling towns, facilitating trade and communication. Telegraph lines were installed, shrinking the distances between communities and connecting Adejumola to the wider world. He oversaw the construction of hospitals and healthcare centers, bringing modern medical care within reach of his people. Clean water systems were implemented, improving public health and sanitation. Oba Alexander understood that progress was not just about abstract ideas. It was about tangible improvements in the daily lives of his people. His modernization efforts were not undertaken without a thought for sustainability and the preservation of Ajecola's natural beauty. He implemented policies to protect forests, conserve water resources, and promote sustainable agricultural practices. Oba Alexander believed that progress should not come at the cost of the environment, but should be in harmony with the natural world. Section 4. Cultural Preservation in a Changing World. Oba Alexander's commitment to progress did not translate into a rejection of his cultural heritage. He understood that Ajecola's identity, its unique place in the world, stemmed from its rich traditions, its vibrant arts, and the wisdom passed down through generations. He believed that preserving this cultural heritage was not merely an act of nostalgia, but an essential element in shaping a strong and resilient future. He became a patron of the arts, supporting local musicians, dancers, and storytellers. He established cultural festivals, celebrations of Ajeca heritage that brought people together, strengthening their shared identity. Oba Alexander understood that culture was not static. It was a living, breathing entity that evolved with time. He encouraged the fusion of traditional art forms with modern influences, breathing new life into ancient traditions. He also recognized the importance of documenting and preserving Ajecola's history. He commissioned the collection and transcription of oral histories, ensuring that the stories of his ancestors, their wisdom, and experiences would not be lost to time. He established archives and museums, spaces where artifacts, documents, and works of art could be preserved for future generations. Section 5. A legacy etched in hearts and minds. Oba Alexander Adejumola Hasstrup's reign as the Ajimoko Owl. Obokun of Ajeca was visionary. He led with wisdom, compassion, and a commitment to his people. His legacy was etched in the hearts and minds of the Ajeca people. He showed them progress and tradition could coexist. Oba Alexander's reign marked a transformative period for Ajeca. The legacy of Oba Alexander Adejumola Hasstrup and his forebears, particularly Frederick Kumakun Adedeji Hasstrup, continues to reverberate through the streets and hearts of Ajeca. It is a legacy marked by resilience, foresight, and an unwavering commitment to the progress and well-being of the Ajesa people. Their story is not just a chapter in the annals of Ajesaland's history, but a living narrative that shapes the present and future. The Hasstrup dynasty exemplifies the delicate balance between embracing modernity and preserving cultural heritage. Frederick's journey from Elisha to Europe and back encapsulates the transformative power of education and exposure to diverse cultures. His legacy of progress was carried forward by Oba Alexander, who, through his reign, demonstrated that true leadership lies in the ability to adapt and innovate while respecting tradition. The Hasstrup influence extends beyond the tangible achievements of infrastructure and education. It is embedded in the very ethos of Ajesaland, in the values of diligence, unity, and respect for heritage that define the Ajesa identity. The story of the Hasstrup family is a reminder that the most profound legacies are those that inspire and uplift entire generations, fostering a sense of pride and purpose that transcends time. Today, the impact of the Hasstrup legacy is evident in the thriving cultural and economic landscape of Ajesaland. The principles of progress and unity espoused by Oba Alexander continue to guide the region's development, ensuring that the foundations laid during his reign are built upon by subsequent generations. The educational institutions he established have produced leaders, scholars, and innovators who contribute to the growth and prosperity of Ajesaland and beyond. The infrastructure projects initiated under his leadership have evolved to meet the demands of contemporary society, with modern roads, healthcare facilities, and communication networks transforming the quality of life for the Ajesa people. The commitment to sustainable development, a hallmark of Oba Alexander's reign, remains a guiding principle, ensuring that progress is achieved without compromising the environment. Cultural festivals and events celebrating Ajesa heritage continue to draw people from all walks of life, reflecting the enduring vibrancy of the region's traditions. These events are not merely celebrations, but affirmations of identity, reinforcing the values and customs that have been passed down through generations. The Hasstrup legacy is thus a bridge between the past and the present, connecting the wisdom of the ancestors with the aspirations of the future. The Hasstrup legacy inspired a cultural renaissance. Oba Alexander's efforts blend traditional practices with contemporary innovations. This dynamism shows Ajesaland's heritage's relevance today. Artists draw from Ajesaland's traditions, infusing their works with identity. Cultural centers ensure stories and wisdom are accessible to future generations. Modern technology enhances cultural preservation efforts. Digital platforms make Ajesa culture accessible globally. The story of the Hasstrup dynasty offers invaluable lessons for future leaders, not just in Ajesaland, but across the world. It underscores the importance of adaptability, vision, and a deep-rooted commitment to the well-being of one's people. Leadership, as exemplified by Frederick and Oba Alexander, is not about holding on to power, but about empowering others, fostering unity, and creating opportunities for progress. One of the key takeaways from their legacy is the power of education. Frederick's journey and Oba Alexander's emphasis on literacy and learning highlight the transformative impact of knowledge. Future leaders can draw inspiration from their belief that education is the cornerstone of societal advancement, a tool for unlocking potential and driving innovation. Another lesson is the importance of cultural identity. Oba Alexander's efforts to preserve Ajesa traditions while embracing modernity demonstrate that progress does not require the abandonment of heritage. Instead, a strong cultural foundation can serve as a source of strength and resilience, enabling societies to navigate the complexities of a globalized world. Future leaders can learn from this approach, recognizing that true progress is rooted in the values and traditions that define a community. The legacy of the Hasstrup dynasty, particularly Oba Alexander Adejumola Hasstrup, is a timeless testament to visionary leadership. Woven into Ajesaland's history, their story inspires a brighter future. It is a legacy etched in the hearts and minds of the Ajesa people. The principles of progress, unity, and cultural preservation remain relevant, Their legacy serves as a beacon, illuminating the path forward.